pretty full. We have a pretty full agenda. Right up front, I'd like to thank our sponsors and for helping us out. And I would like to take just a second, and I know on Zoom it can seem like forever, but a second for a moment of silence for especially one of our champions here, Richard Carter, who passed last year, but he was really big on entry, a great friend of Jonathan's and a great friend of ours here in Chester. So some of you know him, some of you don't, but we're going to take a second of silence for him. Okay, thank you. And that's for all the other champions of reentry. Richard wasn't the only one, but he really was a guy that changed the scope of reentry for us here in Chester as well as in Delaware County. Those of you who are looking, you probably see, I know the testimonials are going somewhere. I'm not sure where they are, but I can't see them. But I just want to point out in this particular venue that we're doing now, we're doing sort of an infomercial webinar, and we're not doing the entire workshop, but we want to inform you of some things. This topic is really important, and we want to inform you of some of the things and the people who are involved in this topic of pardons and commutations, and some of the champions who've been out there doing research, people who have been working with people and making sure that that they do get to where they need to be and get the services they need to be. One of the persons I want to recognize is Dawn Chamberlain. She's done a lot of work here in Chester and around. I believe she's from Philadelphia, but Dawn's worked with us before, and we're so happy to have her work with us, and she's part of our team down here on the ground. Another person who you'll hear more from, especially in the workshop, the future workshop, Jonathan's going to tell us when that's going to be. The in-person workshop is going to be Kevin Morgan. Kevin is a special individual. I shared some time with him on the Literacy Council, and he's done a lot of work and influenced a lot of people around here just with his personhood, just who he is, not only his story, but if his testimonial's up there, please pay attention to it. And we have one more testimonial that I want to open up with and share with you. And is Jesse Faust's testimonial up there? If not, I would like to read Jesse's testimonial because Jesse is a special individual. I'm going to read this and then just tell you what our relationship is with Jesse and how we kind of came to work with him, Jonathan King and I. So this is Mr. Jesse Faust. This is what he said to me. I said, I want a testimonial. And I said, how do you feel? How did you feel when you your sentence was commuted? He said, what I've learned from being in jail for 41 years and 7 months is that the more honest you are, the Creator will bless you with a better lifestyle. He said, I learned to plan every day. I recognized the Creator gave me a chance for a better life. I've learned how to live with integrity and empathy. Riding in the car, talking, walking, planning without handcuffs on me. He said, the supervisor, the day he got commuted, said, Mr. Faust, you are going home. I said, when? She said, today, right now. It was like walking out of a dream. My motto is faith, family, and friends. I want to spend the rest of my life being around my family and helping my community. That's Mr. Jesse Faust, Jesse Youssef Faust to some, and that's his testimonial. I wanted to share that with you to help get us started. This is what we're here for. This is what we work for. And Jonathan King and myself, we're not going to tell our story about Jesse, but we work with Jesse. And one day I looked up and realized, I said, Jonathan, do you know we've been working with Jesse for 20 years? he said, I started in 2002. So 20,001, one of those days. But anyway, we've been working with him, and that's the day, that's the result of all of us working together, and that kind of sets the tone for what we're here tonight to do. So the theme is reentry, resetting, and redemption. And Jonathan's going to come on a little later to tell us what that's all about. But first, I have the work. We have some honored guests here, and at least we honor them. And I would like to introduce some of them to you and have them say a word or that touches the theme of our theme of reentry, resetting, and redemption, and pardons and commutations. I believe Mr. Robert Reed, the Executive Deputy Attorney General for Special Initiatives, I believe he is on the line somewhere. If he is, I want to recognize him to make sure that he is, and he has an opportunity to say something if he would like, because usually he does. But if he's around, Mr. Robert Reed, we appreciate you, and we appreciate the work that you're doing with parks. It's an important job, and you're continuing to lend your resources and help to reentry here, and pardons and parole and everything else. And we appreciate that. And Charlotte Plains and all the rest of the people up there with parks, we appreciate you around the county and in between the county. So thank you so much for what you do. Pennsylvania Senator John Kane, he chose not to speak, but we want to recognize him because he comes to everything. He shows up and he is very sincere. He's an open book when he comes, and he's a great model for influencing people, especially people in overcoming trauma. You hear that word a lot around, but Senator Kane, he doesn't mix any fancy words. He just shares his story and tells you how he's going to support you. We thank you so much, Senator Kane, if you're listening. We also have words of support from Pennsylvania State Representative Brian Kirkland. We thank you so much for what you do. We recognize Mayor Thaddeus Kirkland. If he's on the line, we salute you, Mayor, and we hope you continue to support us. Also, Pennsylvania Senator Anthony Hardy Williams sends his regards. He could not be on tonight, but he is a supporter. He was a big supporter of ours down here in Delaware County for gun violence. And as I went back and forth to Harrisburg with other mayors and with the local groups here like Delco United for sensible gun legislation and ceasefire, Senator Williams was there, and he always came down when I called him. So we want to salute him for his contributions tonight. There's one person I do know that's here, and I can see him, and I would like him to just share some thoughts with us. And thank you so much for joining us. And that's our Delaware County District Attorney, Mr. Jack Stollsteimer. Jack?
Thank you, John. Thank you so much for the warm introduction and for allowing me to speak for just a few minutes. And Jonathan King, thank you for all the great work you're doing, continuously setting up these very important clinics. As everybody probably knows, this is a very important year for reentry and redemption here in Delaware County. We are about to, thanks to Jonathan King's work on our jail oversight board, to take back our county correction facility from private control back to county control. So we are right now the only county who has a privately run prison, and that's going to end in April. And as part of that, we've been all working together to create a reentry coalition here in Delaware County to put everyone's effort so that when people do come out of our soon to be vastly improved facility, where we hope that people can get the services they need so they can return to the community and prosper, that we give them that extra help by having a reentry system and program in place to really help them go on their way. So Jonathan, thanks for the great work you're doing with that. Thanks for everybody in county government. This is an all hands on deck effort. It takes a huge amount of work to take back this prison, but they've been working on it. Kevin Madden and Jonathan King have been working on it nonstop for over a year now. We're also doing some other things that we'll be talking about as time goes on to make that facility even better. And I'll let Kevin Madden, hopefully John, give you an update at that at some point. But also, if you don't mind, I just want to say a word about the pardons, because this is so important. The Pardon Project is really a great workforce development, just a great redemption tool under Pennsylvania law for people who really have turned their lives around to get their record clear and to walk proudly once again amongst their fellow citizens without a criminal record. It's something that is earned and can be earned under our system, but it's really confusing. It took me a while to understand, and I actually have a law degree, shockingly. So I'm glad that Jonathan, and I know Celeste is here from the Pardons Board, they're going to hopefully walk you through the process. We're trying to get a pardons project moving more quickly here in Delaware County to get some pro bono attorneys to help put the paperwork together. President Judge Kelly, just a couple months ago, took a first step towards that here in Delaware County by making all the records you need accessible for free if you're working through a pro bono attorney. That can be a big hurdle for people to come to the county courthouse and get the proper documentation to do the pardons requirements. So we're working on all of that together. I think that events like this and the group of people who were involved here tonight are really going to help us get that process moving forward later in 2022. But I just wanted to say, again, thank you to everyone who's been working on all of these. It's so important for public safety that we do these things, that we deprivatize our prison, that we create a real reentry pathway for citizens, and that we make sure we have a pardons process that works for everyone here in Pennsylvania and is fair. So with that, John, I just wanted to say again, thank you to all. Thank you for letting me speak for a few minutes. If you don't mind, I'll let you guys go on and do the work unless you guys need me to hang around and show my ugly face and fill up your screen.
Thank you so much, Jack. We appreciate it. You have so much to add and bring us, and your role here as a district attorney is so important. So we thank you for that, and we definitely need your support in what we are doing. So thank you.
We're just starting out, John. We've got a lot more work to do together, and I'm looking forward to it. So thank you all.
Fantastic. Appreciate it. Another person who's here, I don't know whether she had planned to speak or not. I don't think she did, but she certainly has done the work to support us in speaking. And that's Meg Grant. And Meg is Director of Public Affairs and Marketing for Keystone First/Keystone Mercy Health Plan. Meg is all over the community. She supports reentry, she supports poverty, she supports everything. She does what she can to bring her services. She never turns us down. So Meg, I just want to recognize you. If you want to say a word, you certainly have the floor, but I'm glad you let everybody see who you are. So, and it was a nice shot of you on the front page of the Daily Times today. So yay. Okay.
Thanks, John.
Fantastic. But thank you, Meg, for attending. I just want to point out this, I call this commercial break because these people support us, but they're not here in Delaware County, but they're friends of ours. And they also, Trevor Brooks is a reentrant, like some of the people that we have in here tonight. And they've made astounding progress with the things that they've done. They had a program called Gun Bail, which transitioned into World Health First, World First Health. So it's up there on the worldsafefirst.com. I'm sorry, but that gun bail program and the app transitioned into World Safe First to help with COVID-19. And then Amazon picked them up, and they're doing some big things with Amazon. And the person who is here representing them, Ken Joseph, you probably can see him, and his logo should be up there. It'd probably be, like I said, Gun Bail, World Safe First, and then with Amazon. It has an Amazon logo on it. So I just want to give a shout out to them. They're here to support us. Again, they've been down here back and forth in Delaware County supporting us with not only the gun bail piece, but in terms of gun legislation and so forth. Now, we also have another special guest that I like to, he's a guest, he should be online. He just can't be with us or couldn't be with us, but Elle Sawyer. Elle Sawyer is also a reentrant person. I say it like that because we got all of these terms for people, justice served individuals and so forth, but he is a reentrant, and he has really, he like Saad, Soliman, who's going to be, you're going to hear from him tonight, have done some things in terms of personal entrepreneurship and bringing value to everything they touch and everybody they touch. And that's one of the things about these, what we're doing tonight with pardons. It brings so much value back into the community from people who have sat for a time and thought about how they want to make contributions to society. So Elle Sawyer, you may know, some of you may know him from his film. He is a social justice advocate, and his film, The Pull of Gravity, is what really got him. So if you have time to go look at that, go look at The Pull of Gravity, and you count that to Elle Sawyer. And I mentioned him because, again, he's a good friend of Saad Soliman and Jonathan King. And I really applaud those two guys for really wrapping their arms around Jonathan and helping him. So, and then we have, and we spoke of the word entrepreneur. We have a very special guest here tonight who is with us. His first name is Ben, which most people know him by, and some people know him by his last name as well, but he is the Ben from Ben & Jerry's Ice Cream, and his name is Ben Cohen, and he is a big supporter of social justice, and he took time out of his busy schedule to come and join us, and affirmed it. And I listened to the whole process. I had to keep Jonathan down on the ground while it was all going on. But finally, when he finally said he would be here and all, we were so happy that you could join us. So Ben Cohen, we welcome you, and we'd like to just hear from you tonight before we get started into the mechanics of pardons and so forth.
Well, hello. Thank you for allowing me to join you tonight. It's good to be with you, especially about this important issue. 40 years ago, I was a young man, of course, but Ben & Jerry's was, it was in the early days of Ben & Jerry's, and we had a traveling vaudeville show on a bus that we were taking around the country to help promote our ice cream. And we were in California, and we decided to do a show and give away some ice cream at San Quentin prison. And the thing that really struck me when I was there was that, it seemed like at least half the people in prison were Black. And somehow it didn't seem right. And I didn't understand it at the time. And today, the thing that drives me crazy is that Black and low-income people end up getting thrown in jail for offenses that people like me get away with. Blacks and whites use pot at about the same rate, but Blacks are 4 times more likely to get arrested for it. I was busted for possession, and I ended up with a ticket for littering a lighted cigarette butt on the beach. If I was Black, I think I would have ended up in jail. People who can't afford to pay a fine are thrown in jail. People who can't afford a good lawyer get thrown in jail. People who fit a description, young Black male, get thrown in jail. And there's also people who did commit serious crimes. When people serve their time and get out of jail, I had been brought up to look at them disparagingly as ex-cons. Now I understand that they're actually returning citizens, people who are trying to get their lives back together, people who are struggling and need some help to escape from a system which is designed to leave them little choice other than to commit a crime and end up back in jail. Our system is big on dehumanizing punishment, but short on compassion. A person gets out of jail and is left on the street with no money, no possessions, no job, no place to live, and broken relationships. That's why working to help people who have been in jail to re-enter their communities is so important. If we don't help people to get their records cleared, we are essentially condemning them to another sentence, life on the edge. We need to help returning citizens get a job and a place to live. But if their records are not cleared, they can't get housing assistance, they can't get a student loan, they can't get government benefits, and these are exactly the people who need those benefits. So I can't tell you how honored I am to be here at this event with these good-hearted people who are working to put more justice and compassion into our communities. Thank you for all that you're doing. And to those returning citizens who are here tonight, welcome home.
Ben, thank you so much. We really, we wish we were in person. You could hear this big roar and this clap from us. So everybody give him a clap, and he'll hear us. He'll hear us.
Ice cream if it was in person, man.
But we certainly appreciate it and appreciate that. And it is resounding coming from you, a man of your stature, taking time to recognize those people who either can't do things for themselves or need help doing things for themselves, and who get a bad break and left turn or right turn. And certainly your words have profound impact, and I'm quite sure our listeners are impressed by what they've heard and what you've shared. And we hope that you feel good enough about us to come back again. So you have a standing invitation here, and you come back again and work with us. So we appreciate you.
Thank you.
Okay, and I think now, I'm not sure if there's any other guests that we need to recognize. If so, I'm checking with my crew. Am I safe to move forward, Erica? Okay, Jonathan? All right, fantastic. So what we're going to do is, I want to tell you just a little short story. When I say short, maybe a couple of sentences, and then what you're saying, what you said, Ben, leads into my next guest. One day I was riding down the street, and I saw this young man, and I knew him from having visited his store and having spoken to him several times around the city and all. And I hope I don't embarrass him by telling this story, because he knows I'm spontaneous when I tell these things, but where they fit, I hope everybody gets to the point here. But he said to me, I said to him, I stopped, I saw him, waved to him, started to talk with him, chat with him. I asked him what he was doing. He said, I'm trying to get a tent. So I said, well, I thought in my head, I figured he was homeless, So I said, tent, I'm thinking about a tent, where he can live. He said, yeah. He said, the tents that you put up to keep the sun from coming. I said, yeah. He said, I'm trying to get a tent because I want to sell some water. I said, you mean one like a barbecue tent under the, he said, yeah, one of those things. So I said, how much it costs? He told me. I said, well, here, take some money. And he said, I'm going to get some water. So I'm thinking in my head, now I was working for the city, and I was also associate professor at Delaware County Community College. And I was okay. I didn't have any whole lot of money, but I gave him some money to get this tent. And about 2 or 3 hours later, I came back past that same spot. He had his tent set up. He was selling water. People were stopping by and so forth. And I told him, I said, I can't hire anybody right now. I'm a councilman. I don't have any power inside. I got power to put tickets on people and all that stuff, but no power to hire anybody. I said, but if I ever got to be mayor, I will hire you. And when I got to be mayor, I hired him. And the person I hired was Jonathan King. And I said to myself, if that's all he wants so that he could go and do something for himself, I will always support him because he's going to turn it into something else. And that's why we're here today. He turned it into something else. So, Jonathan Abdur-Rahim King, you share with us the mission.
No. So you put everything in the chat, okay? I gotta get off.
I gave you your flowery inches. You was
okay.
So here you are. You know what I mean?
People calling me trying to get on and all that, ask me if I got on. So
he was making another deal. That's what he was doing.
Thank you
Jonathan.
for that introduction. And look, I'm so ever so grateful. I'm a guy that did 10 years in the penitentiary, and one of the things that I didn't want to do was get back out in the streets. And it's so easy when you live in under a racially systematic system that really traps you in your own community. And it's not easy. But I was patient and I was blessed. And when I met Mayor Linder, I can say that he's kept his word since the first day I saw him. And I tried my best to have integrity and grace and all of those things that you're supposed to have as a person when somebody looked out for you. But moving forward in the years, I've been on a journey. I mean, the creator and whoever you believe in, when you believe in something, I think that's the why, that's the motivation that makes you do what you do. I mean, the first thing I'm gonna say that I wanna thank everybody for being on this Zoom, right? Because you could have been anywhere. And I know there's a lot of people right now waiting for that Lakers and Sixers game to come on, and they can't wait for this to be over. And I appreciate you too. And for me, it's like when somebody's interested in something, no matter what's going on, they're gonna be there. Now, this team that we have, I gotta mention the team. I gotta mention Erica, Stacy, Megan, Mayor Linder. Did I forget anybody? Dawn. I don't care how Elle feel. I'm gonna say Elle. Hey, Elle, he just came on. Saad. I know that this couldn't be done by itself, but I'm gonna tell you something. If you know what the Super Bowl trophy represent, right? We know the name of that trophy, right? When we think about that trophy, when somebody wins the Super Bowl, that's the ultimate win. When I think about somebody like Richard Carter is the creator of reentry in our times. He was one of the people that was talking about reentry before anybody was even thinking about it. And while I'm on this journey, I would never forget this man, because he introduced me to a thing that we could do for people, right? So we can change their lives. When I came home from prison, I ended up getting a college degree. We met people from Washington all the way down to the person that came home yesterday. I've been blessed. The mayor has set a stage for me that is awesome, and he's a giver. And it became contagious, and it made me a giver. So the main mission about this, my whole intention is to bring awareness, consciousness, support, collaboration, and resources for people who are just like anybody else who's made a mistake in life and want to make that change. Like Mr. Ben Cohen said, without a pardon, you're still part of the system. Mm-hmm. For those who are on here right now that still got that X on their back, that pardon is the holy grail of reentry. It starts the day you get out of prison and you're walking out here, you're trying to reenter, you're trying to reset, and you're trying to redeem yourself. That pardon is the holy grail. So I just want to say thank you to everybody. The intention is to get this awareness out at the level that it's supposed to be, so we can be able to help people, men and women, right? We want to make sure that we do what we say we're going to do and what we're good at. I don't know everything, and I ain't got all the answers. And I feel like we got a dream team with everybody being great in their expertise. But I can tell you this, I will not stop doing the work that I am doing for people who have gotten out of prison, for people who's trying to get their record clean until I stop breathing. This is something that I've been called to do, and I will never stop. And I'm open to learn, I'm open to grow, and I'm always a student. So with that, I would like to say to everyone, thank you. This mission is about the people who want to be truly free. Remember, free ain't always free. We got to define that ourselves. And sometimes we think that our past defines who we are, but your future is spotless. No one can claim it. No one knows what's going to happen. And that's one of the great expectations and things about life in itself. We can be anybody we want to be. So thank you, people. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, Jonathan. You make me proud, man. I'm a proud daddy right now, man. I'm listening to you, man. I really feel great about you, and I feel great about what you're doing. And obviously, a lot of other people do. Now, you got everyone fasten up your seatbelts or buckle up. We got some heavy hitters coming up here now. And among them is, who's going to go first is Mr. Saad Soliman. And I can't say enough about Saad. You have to go and look at LinkedIn. You got to look him up on Wikipedia and every other social media. But Saad, again, another person who came back into society and flipped society on its head, because he didn't allow the place he was in, the prison, to be just a jailhouse. You know, he used it as a greenhouse. He had ideas and he let them germinate and they grew in there, and now he's back. The same way with Jonathan, the same way with Elle. But we're going to hear from Saad, and Saad's going to tell us some things and set the course. He's done significant research. I got one of his research studies about that thick, and I've been reading through it, enjoying it, and saying, I'm glad I know him. And I encourage you to look at his TED Talks and look at some of the videos that he has out there on speeches that he's done on reentry policy, the whole thing. So my pleasure to introduce to some of you and present to the rest of you, Mr. Saad Soliman.
Thank you, Mayor. That I'm humbled and honored by that introduction alone. It really speaks to the deliberate and intentional care and humanity that we share amongst us as we work towards opportunity for everyone that's suffered. Indeed, the human condition has been brought to the fore since COVID. We've recognized COVID has taught us what isolation, what being alone feels like, what being away from our social circles feels like. And so all of us can relate in varying ways to the current dialogue and the topics that we're discussing tonight. A pardon is an act of government that allows a person to be relieved of some or all of the legal consequences of a criminal conviction. What does that do? We talk about reentry. We talk about that critical intersection where an individual is restored, brought back home, allowed to reunify with their families and their community. We term it. We often look at reentry as a period of 18 months or 24 months or 36 months post-release, while an individual's under parole or under the auspices of a supervisory agency like probation or terms of supervised release. What we don't realize is that the only true end to the term reentry, which is a life condition, is a pardon. So I was incarcerated at 8 years old, convicted of my first felony at 11. I was labeled a violent offender from the time I was 11 until the time I was 40. Now, I was released from prison at 32 years old in 2010. And I worked at a pizza shop. I worked at a payday loan company. I worked at a church, cleaning up, any job that would have me. It wasn't until I started my own operation, my own company as an entrepreneur, that I was able to find my own freedom. And at that point, I believed that the color of freedom was green. I believed that financial freedom would allow me the opportunity to navigate circles, to transnavigate systems, and to become the change agent that my heart told me that I would become. After having been raised in prison by men of whom I saw complete the end of a life sentence. Men that would die in an infirmary cell of AIDS with no more than ibuprofen to quell their pain.
Mm.
Those men are the men that breathed life into me. And as a teen, when I was 17 years old and sentenced to do 20 years, it was unfathomable to me. It felt like life. But those men, those stalwart anchors of men, breathed into me, young man, you have a date. You're going to go home. Prepare for it. And while I was angry and suffering from trauma and suffering from all of these different experiences, I visioned myself. In 2011, I was blessed with the opportunity to become the first formerly incarcerated leader ever hired by our United States Department of Justice. And through that, we created a communitarian model of supervision that reduced recidivism down 46 points from the state of Delaware and 49 points from the national average. We leveraged the opportunity while reducing our budgets, meaning that what we did was humanize. Now, when we talk about reentry, we talk about restorative justice. We talk about rights being restored. We talk about restoring dignity. We talk about humanity. We talk about opportunity for men and women to be fully restored and reunified with their families and become economic drivers and become not only consumers, but producers. Anyone without a pardon that has been formally convicted of a crime, if they experience any housing instability, any employment instability, if say, for example, you've been home for 15 years and you've been doing a great body of work, and unfortunately the company you work for goes under. The moment you put yourself back into the market of seeking a job, the barriers that you emerged with the day you came home negate the 15 years that you've been free. And you're faced with the exact same barriers that you were faced with the day you came home, albeit with less support and less of a community of care and less of a community of practice. And if you're lucky, you have someone there to hold your hand, someone there to give you a shoulder to cry on, someone that will help you stand, and someone that will give you a job. And if you experience housing instability, it's the same. Life circumstances make all of us aware of how easy it is to fall, how much life happens in a split second. Now, there's no reducing remorse. There's no reducing responsibility. There's no reducing the opportunity to provide a new life. Being accountable means that you've paid your debt to society. That debt may be abstract and it may be fiscal, but the reality of the situation is that we as a nation from foundation believe in second chances and redemption, and it is a cross the aisle issue. It is an issue that enhances public safety. It is an issue that stimulates economies. It is an issue that has the ability to truly take marginalized communities and make them prosperous and disrupt not only the cycle of criminal justice, incarceration, and involvement, but focusing on reentry allows you to disrupt the system pre-entry. Rebuilding families one human at a time, one community at a time. And the reality is that this moment is our moment, because no time in my life, not 9/11, not the Y2K bubble, not 1994, not the tech boom, not the depression of 2007. This moment is the moment in our world where we all felt afraid and all felt vulnerable. And all of us have wondered whether we were safe or not. And COVID has made us relate to the lowest amongst us. It is this moment in time that we must seize the opportunity to redeem, reset, and re-enter. I'm honored to be the founding executive director of a nonprofit agency that served almost 3,000 Delawareans in the past 4 years. We stand united. We are the only agency in Delaware entirely comprised of formerly incarcerated leaders that have become mentors, that have transformed their lives and are transforming the narrative of what someone, something, somehow can be. Maimonides in the 12th century gave the best operative definition of the word hope that I've ever heard. Maimonides said, hope is the believing in the plausibility of the possible, as opposed to the resignation to the probable. Tonight, I'm very honored to be able to present to you what I have seen in the possible. Jonathan has built the impossible, a coalition of support, a coalition built from grassroots to absolutely eradicate and empower, eradicate injustice, empower people. It's our job to rally our support, our resources, our intellectual properties, our passion, our purpose behind his work, behind the movement. It's not just touching Delaware. It's not just touching Philadelphia. It's not just touching Harrisburg. It's not just the epicenter of Chester. It is our world that he is influencing. And he's not an outlier, nor am I, nor is Elle. We are the norm if we are allowed to be. Our world has not allowed us to be. Today, we're demystifying the process of pardon. We have with us the very next speaker I am honored to present, Madam Secretary of the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons. If today her presence here with all of us doesn't speak life into the opportunity that a pardon is within our reach, is within our grasp, is fully capable of our acquisition, then what is? So it's with that that I close, and I welcome our secretary, Madam Celeste Trusty.
Thank you so much, Saad. That was such a wonderful introduction. And I want to thank all of you so much for attending. This is such an important topic, and you can see why. You know, our presenters and our special guests, thank you so much for sharing your expertise, and our wonderful impacted community members who've taken the time to share their powerful stories with us this evening. Those types of stories absolutely give me life and make me wake up every day wanting to continue to do this work. So as Saad mentioned, my name is Celeste Trusty, and I'm so honored to serve as a secretary of the Pennsylvania Board of Pardons. I love second chances, and I'm so excited for each of you who have decided to embark on this journey toward looking at a pardon and clemency here in Pennsylvania. So I'm so sorry that we're not able to be there in person tonight, but I'm here to provide some kind of guidance for folks who are preparing to apply for a pardon in Pennsylvania as we lead into our next event, which hopefully will be in person. So I'm going to give you a few steps that you can start taking as we prepare for everybody to apply for a pardon and file your application. So first, it's very important to understand your history of involvement with the legal system so that the most accurate and complete information is included in your application. So everything that you on your record that is pardon eligible can be included. So there are some great resources on the Board of Pardons website to help you really figure that out. But some other great resources to help you document your history are a court system search, which you can find at ujsportal.pacourts.us. You can also do a state police criminal history, which you can find at psp.pa.gov, and then also at the County of Common Pleas, the County Court of Common Pleas, where you can actually check to see your record there. Then you'll definitely want to go ahead and check out the Board of Pardons website. We have some amazing resources there for people who are looking to apply for clemency. That website is bop.pa.gov. We have some really helpful information about the clemency process, some really helpful reference materials, legal aid organizations to help offer assistance, meeting dates for the Board of Pardons, links that you'll need in order to watch and participate in those hearings, and information about who is on the Board of Pardons and the history and the function of the board. You can also download a copy of the brand new updated application for clemency straight from our website. When you go to our website, you can click directly on download an application and get the application right there. Or you can click on apply for clemency at the top of the page, and then you can access some really great resources on how to file, see if you're eligible for our expedited review program, and then also find some really helpful resources about the clemency process there as well. The next thing you'll want to do is start gathering any necessary documents that you're going to need in order to complete your pardon application. So you'll need some of these documents for each case that you're seeking to apply for a pardon for. And you can find these documents largely through the county clerk of courts where each docket is located. You'll need things like the criminal complaint, affidavit of probable cause, criminal information, indictment if there is one, final plea, verdict, disposition, sentencing order, and then also proof of payment of fines, court cost supervision fees, and restitution if available. If you do have outstanding legal financial obligations, there are ways to address those, right? So please provide a receipt of with your application that shows the date of your last payment and current remaining balance. While you're preparing to apply for a pardon, you're strongly encouraged to make attempts to resolve any outstanding legal financial obligations if possible. There are a few ways that you can go about this, and our wonderful friends at Legal Aid of Southeast PA can also provide some great guidance on this as well. So be sure if you have questions, follow up with them, and they'll be able to provide some great answers for you. So a couple ways you can do this. You can satisfy any outstanding balance in full if you're able. You can also inquire about a payment plan in order to make regularly scheduled payments to address outstanding balances. You can also petition the court or the DA in the county of conviction to waive some of these financial obligations. You can also request those folks to impose community service instead of a financial obligation. So if you're here in Southeast PA, please don't forget to reach out to the Legal Aid of Southeast PA folks, and they can definitely give you some guidance on how to proceed there. Also, another note on documents. If you're seeking a pardon that was handled by an MDJ and it's more than 7 years old, you're not going to be required to get the documents for that case. You should also check on the Board of Pardons website to see if your case or the cases that you're looking for to have pardoned are eligible for our expedited review program. The expedited review program fast tracks pardon applications for marijuana-specific convictions that have been deemed nonviolent. In these cases, the board focuses less on how recent the conviction or the contact with the legal system has been, and more about how receiving a pardon would benefit your life, and perhaps the life of your family, or better, the life of your community. You'll also want to gather any documents that support your application for a pardon. If you've earned any certificates or diplomas, make copies and prepare to submit them with your application. Do you have folks in the community that would be willing to write letters of support for your application? Gather those, make copies, and prepare to submit them with your application also. Any documentation that you think strengthens your application and helps paint a more accurate and robust picture of the person that you are now, prepare to include that with your application. So there's an optional section on the application which provides space for you to share your personal story of the person that you've become since your contact with the legal system. This is optional, but if you'd like to complete this section, you should definitely think to include how you've changed your life, the things you've accomplished, why you're requesting a pardon, and why you think you're a great candidate for clemency. If you've participated in community service or volunteer service, let the board know. Really be specific in explaining to the board why clemency is such an important step in your life and how it will positively impact your life, your family's life, and the community as a whole. This section, if you complete it, it's a great opportunity to tell the board really who you are and why you deserve clemency, or in your own words. And then one very important thing to prepare for, as we're going through the clemency process, is patience. While it does take a bit of time from the time you submit your application until your case can be heard before the board, please understand that the Board of Pardons office staff, the board members, and all of our partners in this process and this clemency effort really do take their role in your clemency process very seriously. We are working very diligently to make sure that as many people have access to second chances as possible. So please feel free to reach out to the Board of Pardons office. You can reach out to me directly. We'll definitely answer any questions you have along your clemency journey. And we are so, so excited to hear from you and to see as many of you get second chances as possible. So thank you all for having me. I am so honored to be here. I'll make sure my contact information is in the chat and folks are provided with that. And again, thank you so much for our folks who have shared their stories today. It is so powerful to hear from our folks who have returned from incarceration and are making our community so much better with their second chances. And you all inspire me every single day. And so thank you so much for your contributions to our world as a whole. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Madam Secretary. I hope you can hear our clapping. We're so happy to have you. You are certainly a bright light for pardons and not casting any aspirations on people who were there before you, but we are so excited to have you because you jumped right in and you joined us. And I know the listening and viewing audience is excited to have you as well. Now we're going to get to the last part of our presentation, which is certainly not the least part. We get to the team. And so, you know, when you do something like this or put this on, there's a team. And I know what the team might be thinking, Madam Secretary, since you laid that out. I don't know how you did that without any notes. And we're going to take a test for all the people listening. What do you remember about? Do you remember everything she said? So just in case you didn't remember everything she said, we have a team who can help you remember everything that Madam Secretary said. And these young ladies have, young to me, so don't take that as a, you know, I'm an old guy, I'm an OG, all right? So, but they have worked with Jonathan. They embraced him. When they first met him, he told me, he called me, he was so excited about them. And they have just been a jewel, all of them, in working with him, and they helped to produce this. So this particular presentation is really not fair to them because they are hands-on. They're the mechanics of reentry and pardons and so forth. They do hands-on. They do everything to prepare people for what Madam Secretary said they need to do. So people won't remember that. They'll remember you, Madam Secretary, but they're going, and what did she say about this? So we have Megan Reinprecht, we have Erica Bryan, and we have Stacy Mendel. And I just want to do, we were talking about the team, and Jonathan earlier said, am I missing anybody? We kind of adopted Kevin Morgan as our poster child. So Kevin, if you're there, remember, we love you and you're part of our team. But these are the worker bees right here. And they each, they have their own expertise. Both Megan and Erica are attorneys. And they have some things that they want to say or and share with you as terms of what their role and responsibility is with pardons and all. So without further ado, Erica or Megan, I don't know who's going to start.
Thank you so much, Mayor Linder. Thank you so much to everyone who's here watching our webinar. I feel so blessed to be a part of this event and be able to help our community. This is, you know, why I became an attorney, was for chances like this to reach people and to be able to help. So I just wanted to iterate some of the ways that there's some local organizations in the area who will be able to help people apply for pardons. So my office is Legal Aid of Southeastern Pennsylvania, and we serve Bucks County, Chester, Delaware, or Montgomery. So if you have a record in any of those counties, then we can help you with the pardon. Even if you live in a different area, but that's where your record is from, we should be able to help you with the pardon. So our intake phone number is 877-429-5994, or you can apply at lasp.org. And they're just going to be able to take you through those first rounds of screening to make sure you qualify. We are an office who, serve low income communities. So we do have some eligibility guidelines with regards to that. Just to give you an idea, if you're a single adult, it's going to be, your income needs to be around $25,000. If you're a household of about 4 people, then the household income should be about $50,000 a year. But feel free to just give us a call. It does depend also on where you live and how old you are. So just try to get in touch with our intake, and we'll try to help as many people as we can. Like the secretary said, we are also, besides pardons, we're able to help people if they're trying to look for ways to reduce that court debt, which is a big step of the process. So we can try to help you with that. If you're a Philly resident and your records are in Philly, then there is Community Legal Services and Pulse, Philadelphia Lawyers for Social Equity. They're able to help people with pardons if you live there and your records are from there. And if you're in another county, there's so many great organizations that are starting their own pardon projects and able to help people. So just send me an email. It should be the same one that was on the flyer, and I can help you get in touch with a pardon project in another county. And then I just wanted to finish by saying we have the State Rep Kirkland's office joining us. Thank you so much for your support. And they do actually have copies of the pardon application. If people want to pick it up from their office, you're able to do that at no cost. So thank you so much for offering that service. And we'll be sticking around for any questions that people might have.
Okay. Erica? Anything
I think
else?
Megan said it all, except I'll just, reiterate, we do this work every day. I was in court with a pardon client yesterday, and in Delaware County, we were able to get $6,800 worth of court debt waived. So don't feel like it can't happen for you. It can, and it does happen, and we're here to help.
Oh, that's fantastic. I know that woke some people up. $1,600 worth of fines waived. That means you guys were working. And we're going to go to some questions and answers, right? But if there's any, and Erica, are you gonna?
Yes, so I'm
moderate
here
that?
and ready to moderate any questions. It looks like all the ones that people had put into the Q&A, we've already been addressing them as we go. So I don't think we have any ready right now, but if anyone has questions, you can put them either in the group chat or in the Q&A, and I will shamelessly interrupt everyone and make sure your question gets answered.
Right.
So
Okay.
for now, we're good. Although I think we had some, if time permits, agenda items, if we want to pause for people to ask their questions.
Oh, okay.
I think it was Stacy.
Oh, yeah. Okay. I was going to do a little special introduction with Stacy. Okay.
Please.
So, yeah, I do this, I
It's
went to,
surprises, I tell you, man.
Stacy, both Erica and Megan are attorneys. But Stacy participates in a different way. She helps get people mentally and psychologically ready to actually apply by helping them reduce their anxiety and trauma about the whole process. As a professor, and I have a counseling background, I understand trauma and anxiety. I teach psychology and so forth. So I really understand the importance of having people to deal with the mental status or the mental position of the individuals who are doing that. Stacy does that. She works with a program called Mindfulness. And during the regular workshops, we do have Stacy do some things with us and show us and give us an example. So I guess you and Erica and Megan have talked about what you're going to say tonight, but I just want to encourage, she's not going to do a workshop tonight. She's going to share with us some things about her role. Okay, Stacy?
Thank you, Mayor Linder. That was very nice of you. I just wanted to say quickly that it's amazing to be here. I dropped in the Q&A 2 little takeaway resources that could be helpful for some of you. One was when Madam Secretary was mentioning the personal narrative part of the application. I made a little graphic organizer just to help you start brainstorming for those of you that are going to apply. If you want to get a head start on your story, I dropped that in the Q&A. It's in there somewhere and it could be helpful maybe. And then I also dropped a pre-recorded meditation practice. It's about 9 minutes. It's patience and I think I called it Patience and Grace a la Abdur-Rahim King, because I think Jonathan really embodies patience and grace, and trying to get a pardon might require those 2 things. So I dropped that in the Q&A also. Thank you.
Fantastic. Thanks, Stacy, and thanks for having you. We appreciate the work and support you give to and bring to the team. I just wanted to reiterate something because there's a common thread, especially with what Saad had to say and where Jonathan is at this point, and with some of the people that we talked about earlier. We talked, Ben Cohen talked, and when he talks, I think automatically of entrepreneurialism at its finest. And Saad talked about economic development, and I mentioned some people that were on the line. Trevor Brooks, who is with Gun Bail and World Safe First, and with Amazon. All of these people are reentrants. They were people who were incarcerated, being held down. And not saying that, and look, I was a mayor, and my position was, we got to do something about the crime. And people committing crimes, we got to do something about them. I was straight with that. I was clear. I don't think we have to be tough on crime. I think we got to be clear on crime. And as Ben Cohen pointed out, there's lack of clarity for a long time. Justice was unjust, and it still is in some cases. So we need to recognize that. But can you imagine if we didn't have a Saad Soliman, a Jonathan King out here, an Elle Sawyer, a Trevor Brooks, and on. There's other people. But I'm just saying, I'm just so happy to do a small part of what this whole phenomenon is about. So we can lift this country up, especially here, because we have the worst corrections for a system here in the world. We've got the worst. And if we look at our system compared to everybody else, and we are so punitive, we have a punitive thing going on. And we're enamored with all of these ways in which we can torture people. And we are unjust, but if you can imagine what these people were not out here to do, to bring on. And if Jonathan didn't have a Saad Soliman and an Elle Sawyer to help push him along. I'm so proud of all of them. And I thank you all for the opportunity to let me be the host. I'm a professor, college professor, and I was a politician. So you're getting both barrels tonight, but I certainly appreciate the opportunity to do it. And I just wish everyone the best. And thank you all for our guests who spoke tonight, and all of those people who tuned in, and the people who are out there just supporting us in a solid way. And then that speaks a lot too. Some people don't want to be on camera. They want to support and get the thing done. And we're so supportive of Saad. I know you have a bunch of people that have tuned in, and I salute your crew, man. It's I hope they are really as proud of you as we are. I know they are. They wouldn't be supporting you. And so if I don't have any more to say, I don't know how to close this thing, but I guess.
Well, we've got questions. So
okay.
I'm gonna shamelessly interrupt, as I promised I would.
Okay.
So a couple of them I've tried to take a stab at answering, but I think they're really good questions. So, we'll read them out loud. And for all of our panelists, if you have sort of additional answers or other thoughts, I really just invite you all to chime in. So one question was, what's the best way for character letters to be presented to the Board of Pardons? So I mentioned that they could just be included with the initial application. Just print them out and include them along with your other application materials. I will say you'll get eventually an application number once your application's been processed while it's still pending. So if you have additional supplemental materials, you can always include them later with that application number attached so that the board knows what application to add it to. Anything else to add from anybody?
I just wanted to add also, I'm sorry, Jonathan.
No, go ahead, Secretary.
No, it's fine. For support letters too, even if they do come in after, you file your initial application or send that initial application in, you can still send them to the board, and we'll make sure that the board, gets them. I can't guarantee they'll be able to see them if, they come in the day before, but of course, if there are, support letters or documentation that you think are going to be supportive and, make your application stronger, definitely make sure you send them to us. We don't mind adding them to people's applications.
Great. Well, I want to make an announcement to everyone, and I feel bad for the people that might have dropped off, that we do have a date for Widener confirmed. We will be at Widener April 4th. I want to also let everybody know that April 4th, 6 o'clock, we will be at Widener live at the Latham, I think it's the Latham Center. So I wanted everybody, Latham Hall.
21st.
The 21st, 4/21/22, Latham Hall at Widener College. We will be live in person. This is just a commercial. This is just a webinar. This is a teaser for everyone because we wanted to stay committed to our word. We know that a lot of people want this information and we want to keep the momentum going. And I just want to say that we not only appreciate you all, we really appreciate our sponsors as well. And I know there's some other things that were supposed to go on with this whole process that may have not happened the way it was supposed to happen, but of some unforeseen events, this thing called COVID-19 has changed the lives for most of us. So please be patient with us. We are committed to the journey and to the purpose. And we will get it done and we will do it the way that makes it more effective. So you guys and gals can meet these beautiful people that are helping us. And I'm gonna tell you something, ain't none of us getting a dime. Everything we do is free, right? Even when you come to the event, you be eaten, you be safe, you be treated well, and all of those kind of things. And we're trying to do our best to make sure we deliver on what we delivered. I wanted to say that life is uncertain, but your past does not have to define you. Your future has unlimited possibilities that no one can determine but you. I said this to my mindfulness coach, Miss Stacy, earlier when we was trying to figure out something to say. And when I think of that Vince Lombardi trophy, like I said, when you win the Super Bowl, I think of my brother, Richard Carter. And for those who came on late, we want to make reentry something important like a Super Bowl, right? We believe that people who have changed their lives and made the difference in this world after a hiccup, they deserve to be noticed too. They're people also, and we should look at it just like that. I think if we don't, we're unjustifiably, right, treating humans like something else, right? Animals shouldn't be treated better than humans. It's just not right. And when I say that, I don't mean treat animals bad, because I'm an animal lover. But we have to do better as a people, as a nation. We have to do better, and we're on that mission to do just that. So I like to thank everybody. I love my team. I couldn't, and I'm telling you, we didn't plan to be a team. We kind of tripped over each other and communicate with each other, and we just said, why don't we just do it? So stay tuned. We, Megan, Stacy, Erica, Madam Secretary, the Mayor, Saad, and Elle, we're all thinking of things to do to make this whole system better. And I believe that we will do it. We got a lot of surprises for you people that's coming soon. So thank you for coming to the Reentry, Resetting, Redemption, a Parting Clinic, Part 3. This is Part 3. Now, Widener will be Part 3.5. because this is technically part of Widener Springs. So I'm gonna pivot back to the mayor so he can close us out and bring us home. And thank you all so much.
Well, thank you, Jonathan. Appreciate that. Yeah, I hope you hear us. Erica, is there any more questions? That's what I wanted to make sure we answered the questions.
Thank you. There were two more questions.
Okay.
One person asked how long it took to do an expungement after a pardon was granted. It does vary from county to county depending on how backed up the courts are. I usually estimate it's around 4 to 6 months. I know in Philly, it's often longer just because their courts are so busy. It can take several months just to get a hearing. But I do want to warn you that once you've got the pardon, you got to do the extra paperwork for the expungement. But I never plan on losing one of those. We'll get every single one of them expunged. And then the last question, well, I've now forgotten. Oh, how long does it take after I submit my application? One person mentioned having submitted their application and they're wondering what's next and how long it takes. So I'm gonna hope that Celeste will help us answer that question.
Yep. So absolutely, and it depends. I think it depends whether it's a pardon application, whether it's a commutation application. Then also we do have the expedited review as well for those marijuana cases that are considered nonviolent. So, the timeline, it is a little bit difficult, unfortunately, and that's kind of why I touched on patience earlier, because, as much as we really wish that the pardon application would be a very, very quick process, sometimes it does take a little bit of time. So we've seen, applications take 1.5 years up to 2 years, to 2.5 years, and sometimes even longer, unfortunately, just because it's great. So many people are applying for clemency, but the process does take a little bit of time. And so it is something that we are working on actively, trying to streamline the process and make sure that, again, things aren't taking quite as long. There has been a lot of progress made, so that's very, very good. But I have to promise you, we are doing the best we can to try to streamline that process so that folks aren't waiting as long. And I did drop for the individual who had that question, I dropped my email in the chat. Please reach out and we'll make sure that we get in touch with you.
Yeah.
And that's it for questions.
I'm just sitting here listening to Madam Secretary share that information, and I'm so happy and proud, like Jonathan said, that we can bring this to you. And we're bringing the whole entire process to you, virtually tonight, in person in April when we go to Widener. So I want to thank Widener. That's my alma mater. So they're not doing this because of me. They're doing this with me. And so I want to thank them for allowing us to have the forum there and agreeing to have the first one. And I thank all of our guests, the people who set this out. Look at the end. Sometimes it's not where you start, it's where you end up. And I still see a lot of people there hanging out to the end. So we thank all of you, and we look forward to seeing you at Widener. We thank our honored guests and all. And again, Mr. Ben Cohen, who was here with us, one of our special guests. And I still see Meg Grant is right there with her. I tell you, she's like that. So I just want to give you the last shout out, Meg. So thank you all. We appreciate it. All of you be blessed and be safe. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. All right.